while I wait on my latest video to upload to you fine people. Um, Gary Bettman was on today on Hockey Night in Canada for the All-Star break, and I'm always happy to see Ron McLean with Gary Bettman because he asks Bettman important questions regarding situations. And these guys, these guys, the Flames, yeah, they were brought up a bunch. So Gary Bettman says basically they need a new arena, Saddle Dome won't work, and it's got to get fixed. Got to get fixed. Can't work in the Saddle Dome, and that the ownership of the Flames have given up, completely given up on negotiating anything with City Hall. Anytime I hear somebody say I've given up on negotiating, I know they're waiting to negotiate. Bettman is just doing what he can to try to get a sweet deal for ownership. And then, when asked, when Ron McLean asked the question, we're all wondering, which is, why can't billionaire owners pony up the money by themselves? His answer was, yeah, they just can't do that. Why not? And it's that old conversation again about how do you justify saying, all right, I'm worth billions. I could afford to buy this and pay this or build this myself, but I want taxpayers to pay for it. I don't want to pay for this myself because there's a lot of risk involved. So I want to pass the risk along to the taxpayers. So the way I see it is this: is that there's a relationship between Mayor Nenshi and Calgary and ownership that is just not working. So it's like they're both holding their breath and waiting for the other one to blink. The problem is the city of Calgary doesn't really have to do anything. And of course, then the Olympic question comes up. So Calgary wants the Olympics again. And if they're going to get the Olympics, and Gary Bettman points out, and he's right, if they're going to win an Olympic bid, they have to build a new arena. Meaning, if we wait long enough, Calgary's going to have to build a new arena anyways. So because they have to build their own arena, we'll go ahead and wait them out. That's how I view it. That's personally how I view it. It's a slippery slope. It's tricky. But I still don't see Calgary moving. And I know there's going to be Flames fans that see, like, well, or is he saying they're going to move? No, not really. And then he was asked about Ottawa, too, and he kind of went, about the Ottawa deal. And, again, it's really frustrating because his sort of blasé attitude towards certain Canadian markets is off-putting. Because at the same time, if the question of Arizona or Florida or something else came up, he'd say, not moving, never happened, no chance, no, 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 no. And yet with the Flames, he goes, nah. Now, again, I see this as negotiating, and the funny thing was, they talked to him about the Edmonton deal and how he played a role in it. And he's like, well, no, I wasn't really an architect of it, but I was a part of the deal. And it's like, okay, so you're kicking the can down the road and you're saying, well, Edmonton was something different, even though with Edmonton, it seems like what the city of Calgary is willing to offer is very similar to what the city of Edmonton got for their new building. It wasn't completely private money and it wasn't completely public money. It was kind of a mix. And for whatever reason, this isn't working. And there really isn't a big update on this other than Bettman saying, oh, well, he's not saying, well, if we have to move, we'll move, but he's not saying we're not going to move. And that, to me, is something, because if you ask him about Arizona, Florida, or any Southern American team, he'll say, oh, no, we're not letting that team move. Calgary, well, we'll see what happens with the arena. So either it's posturing by Bettman, and I wouldn't put it past him, or he's legitimately like, well, maybe it just doesn't work in Calgary. Maybe we'll move. And he kept saying the fans of Calgary deserve better, which always makes me angry. If ownership and the city are having an argument, fine, but don't patronize to the fans. Don't turn around and say, well, the fans deserve better, because this is a league that's shut down how many times under Gary Bettman? 4? And he wants to turn around now and go, I care about what the fans... No. No, 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 and no. He's played hardball with players many, many times over. He usually gets what he wants because he's a representative of the owners. Because he's a representative of the owners, he's a commissioner, he works for them. It's not about what the fans need or want. It's about what ownership wants. So he works for the owners, is by extension working for the Calgary Flames owners, And I'm not 100% convinced that fans of the Flames are being served by ownership in Calgary. The other thing I noticed was he called them Calgary today. I noticed that today. That during the interview he referred to them as Calgary Flames. And I'm like, I've been made to change it to Calgary because people got mad at me for saying Calgary. And here's the commissioner of the NHL referring to the city by that name. Another interesting Bettman thing, and I didn't hear it being addressed in what... I know I kind of heard it glossed over a little bit. Goalie interference. I take issue with what he said. He says referees are overthinking it. So they make their call on the ice, and then they look at the replay, and then they overanalyze it, and they change their minds. That's a really bad excuse for what's going on, Gary. That's wrong. Either there's a rule that states certain goals are goals, and certain goals are going to be called back, or there isn't. And you can't say, well, the referee's looking too hard at that play, because that's really poor leadership. Think about it. In what other sport do you look and go, well, yeah, he tried to get that call right, but he's trying too hard? I don't hear that in basketball. I don't hear it in football, baseball. Nope. Hockey. Referees are just overthinking it. I read it, and then I tried to get some context from reading the rest of what he said around it, and I still don't really understand it. If you want the call on the ice to stand, then just take the replays away. If you want the replays to work, then let the replays work. I'm not understanding the NHL's point on this. Either the calls are being made right or they're not. And they asked about the Matthews goal and the McDavid goal, and he goes, well, those were high profile. That's why everybody paid attention to those goals. And that's when my brain kind of exploded a little bit. That's not why people paid attention to those goals. It just happened to be that it was Matthews and it was McDavid. That's not why they got blown up. There have been fans on this channel blowing up for months about goal after goal after goal that either counts that shouldn't or shouldn't count that does, or is such a weird gray area that we can't figure out what is and isn't a goal. And for him to say, I think what the problem is that if the referees are overthinking it, is the biggest cop-out I've heard from a guy who has a lot of cop-outs that he does. Fix the rule. And for him to say, well, yeah, we'll look at it, but I just think referees are overthinking it. Are you serious? That's sort of like looking at a tire fire and going, a little bit too much smoke over there. We'll throw a little bit of water on it. It'll be fine. People are complaining about the tire fire. They don't appreciate the tire fire for what it brings to the community. We think it's a good tire fire. You're just overthinking it. Fix it. Fix goalie interference. All the players, coaches, general managers, and fans are talking about it. It is the #1 topic of conversation right now. Fix it. Don't put the onus on the referees that are just trying to get the call right and apparently didn't get directives very well from the NHL, because Bettman says there'll be a directive going out to officials. Really? Now, at the end of January, around the start of February, you're going to start giving referees directives? Oh, good. Now we're going to change how it's called mid-season. Standard NHL Bush League crap. Call it. Call it the way it's meant to be called by the rules. Agree on what that rule is and move on. Move on to the next tire fire that you guys have started. I don't get it. The idea of, well, referees are overthinking it. Are you serious? Really? I've never seen anything stupid happen in this house with kids and said, you kids are really overthinking things. This disaster is because you overthought it. That's not how disasters work, nor is it how officiating works. I don't want to be told that referees are thinking too much. I want to be told what's going to fix the problem. Fix the problem, National Hockey League. You know it's out there. You've got everybody in the game, around the game, and watching the game telling you it's going on. So fix it. There's my rant for the night. I've been feeling this way since I read Get Bettman's comments from yesterday, but obviously I had the concert. I had to do the concert review. I had live streams today on my other channel, on the Entertainment Guy, where I did the Rumbles. And now I'm ready to discuss this. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I don't understand it. I think it's weird. I think it's the NHL just shooting itself in the foot. Instead of Bettman just coming and going, yeah, we've got to really clarify this, to turn around and throw referees under the bus, that's just so typical NHL. Well, we're not going to take responsibility for our rule being gray area and kind of hard to fathom, and it's kind of hard to call it. So because we can't call the rule, and we made the rule kind of open to interpretation, we're going to blame the officials who are being paid to implement our rules because they're trying to implement them correctly. And meanwhile, the fans crap all over the referees who aren't being given directives. The NHL itself saying we need to give a directive to officials. You should have done that in September. This needs to stop. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And especially if you're kind of fed up with the whole goalie interference crap, because I am too. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.